Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice Second Slice eyeshadow palette and the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice matte liquid lipstick. If you do want to see a review and a demo, then please keep watching. As a huge favor, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment anything down below. I greatly appreciate it. I read all the comments and I will do my best to reply back. The eyeshadow palette retails for $54 on Too Faced online, Sephora, and Ulta Beauty. The Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipstick retails for $26 at Sephora, Ulta Beauty, and Too Faced online. Let's start off with the liquid lipstick, then we'll move on to the eyeshadow palette. I do want to read a little bit about the liquid lipstick on Ulta's website. Too Faced's innovative formula glides on over lips like a gloss, but dries to an ultra matte opaque finish. Infused with a no-sting plumping filler, Melted Matte ensures color always looks rich, full, and kissable. Never dry, shriveled, or cracked. Here's a closer look on what the packaging looks like. It says Too Faced Melted Matte. I love the details on the packaging. Below that it states it smells like pumpkin spice. You get 7 milliliters of product or 0.23 fluid ounces. Up at the top you have the shade name. This shade is PSL, which stands for Pumpkin Spice Latte. On this side of the packaging you have a little description. On the other side it states it in a different language. On the back you have the list of ingredients and it states it was made in the USA. Here's what the actual liquid lipstick looks like. I love the details on the packaging, the little pumpkin spice cup here with the little heart and the little pumpkin, so cute. And then it says Too Faced Melted Matte, and then here's what the back looks like. Again, you have the shade name. Here's a closer look on what the doe foot applicator looks like. The scent is heavenly. It definitely smells like cinnamon and vanilla. I'm getting a little bit of that pumpkin. PSL is described as a spice terracotta red. This shade is so pretty. Here's what the shade in PSL looks like. This shade is gorgeous. Now let's move on to the eyeshadow palette. I do want to read a little bit about this palette on Ulta's website. Sit back, relax, and make room in your makeup bag because Too Faced is serving up seconds of their best-selling pumpkin pie inspired eyeshadow palette with Pumpkin Spice Second Slice. Here's a closer look on what the packaging looks like. It says Too Faced Pumpkin Spice Second Slice. Up at the top it just says Too Faced. On the side of the packaging there isn't anything printed. Same thing on this side, there's nothing. Here's what the back of the packaging looks like. You have a picture of all of the shadows included. There are 18 shades in total. You have a little description, and then down here at the bottom it does state that the bulk was made in the USA, but it was assembled in the Dominican Republic. Here's what the actual eyeshadow palette looks like. It says Too Faced Pumpkin Spice. It does match the outer packaging. This packaging is their cardboard packaging. It's not their tin packaging. I love the details on the actual packaging. I love the little whipped cream, how it's raised. Same thing with the letters. It's raised. Such a beautiful presentation. Here's what the back of the palette looks like. Let's open this up. Here's what all 18 shades look like, and it does come with a mirror. The first shade in the palette is called Whip It Good. This is super soft in the pan. Whip It Good is described as nude champagne with gold and silver shimmer. Let's blend this out. That shade is pretty, but it does blend in with my skin. The next shade is called Sip Sip Hooray. Sip Sip Hooray is described as a light beige. Again, it blended in with my skin, but this would be a great transition shadow. The third shade is called Crust Issues. Crust Issues is described as a light burnt orange. Again, really pretty shade. The next shade in the palette is called Cutie Pie. Cutie Pie is described as a metallic rust orange. The second to last shade in the top row is called Pick Up the Patch. Pick Up the Patch is described as a shimmer gold green. You can barely see that shadow. The last shade in the top row is called More Please. More Please is described as a dark green black with gold green silver shimmer. This shade did swatch a little bit patchy. The first shade in the second row is called Squash It. Squash It is described as a bright orange with yellow, gold, and orange shimmer. The next shade is called Everything Nice. Everything Nice is described as a warm yellow nude. The next shade is called Serving Looks. Serving Looks is described as a terracotta brown. The next shade is called One More Bite. One More Bite is described as a metallic marigold. The second to last shade in the second row is called Sinful. Sinful is described as a metallic copper brown. The last shade in the second row is called Spice-tacular. Spice-tacular is described as a rusty red brown. The first shade in the bottom row is called Toasted. Toasted is described as a light tan. Again, you can barely see that shadow. Next up, we have Second Helping. Second Helping is described as a deep orange. Next up, we have Scary Spiced. Scary Spiced is described as a cool purple brown. That shadow blended out a little bit patchy. Next up, we have Fall Feels. Fall Feels is described as a metallic plum. That shade is really pretty. The second to last shade is called Thankful. Thankful is described as a fuchsia pink. Thankful looks very patchy after I blended it out. The last shade in the palette is called Easy on the Pies. Easy on the Pies is described as a rust red. This shade is patchy as well. Here's what all 18 shades look like swatched on the back of my hand. Now we're going to create a look using this palette. Using a clean fluffy brush, I'm going to dip into the shadow in Toasted, applying that shadow all over the crease, going back and forth, doing windshield wiper motions. Toasted is very subtle, but it did blend out very easily. Doing the same thing on the other eye. Using that same brush, I'm going to dip into the shade in Serving Looks, apply that right underneath that first shadow. Again, I love how that blended out. Doing the same thing on this eye. Swapping my brush for a flat brush, I'm going to dip into the shadow in Cutie Pie, packing the shade in the center of my lid. That shade is stunning. Again, I'm applying this shadow in Cutie Pie. I'm using it dry. I feel like the eyeshadow looks a little bit too dark with this lip. Taking a clean fluffy brush, I'm going to dip into the shadow in Crust Issues, applying the shadow in my crease, again going back and forth. I don't want to lose the shadow in Serving Looks. I like how the shade in Crust Issues did brighten up the eye look a bit. I'm going to be doing the same thing for the other eye. Going back in with the shadow in Cutie Pie, again packing this in the center of my lid. Using my finger, I'm going to dip into the shadow and Squash It, patting this in the center of my lid. I love how that shadow and Squash It gave it that pop. I did get a little bit of fallout underneath, but that's totally fine. Taking a pointed pencil brush, I'm going to dip into the shadow and pick up the patch, applying the shadow in my inner corner. That shade is so beautiful. For a little bit of depth, I'm going to dip into the shadow in Spice-tacular, taking a little bit of it and just popping it on my outer V. I'm just doing a stamping motion. Using my blending brush, I'm going to be using circular motions to blend it out. Here's how the eyeshadow look came out. For mascara, I'm going to apply the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. Here we have the completed look. My final thoughts on the Pumpkin Spice Second Slice eyeshadow palette is that I really do like it. The mattes in this eyeshadow palette blend out so easily. You don't need a lot of product. I did experience a little bit of fallout with the shadow in Squash It. If you wet your brush, you won't experience any fallout. I used all of these shadows dry and the shades are super pigmented. There is a subtle scent. It's not overpowering at all. It does smell a little bit like cinnamon and pumpkin. You really have to dig your nose into the shades to smell it. I really did like playing with this eyeshadow palette. I do have to play with it a little bit more. I want to play with this pink shadow in Thankful. I definitely want to play with this plum shade as well. The Melted Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade PSL is so gorgeous. I think this shade would look stunning in all skin tones. I really do like this formula. It doesn't feel very drying on my lips. This is a comfortable matte. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you plan on purchasing the eyeshadow palette or the liquid lipstick or both? If you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video.